It's day 13. It's 2020 Great Ontario Yield Tour. We're in Port Dover, Ontario. It's our 5th year. Moe Agostino, Chief Commodity Strategist with Farms.com Risk Management and the Chief Host of the tour. And we're here doing another industry spotlight with our corporate farm out in Port Dover, Ontario. We own about 2,100, well, Farms.com owns about 2,100 acres of corn, beans, wheat that we rotate every year, and wanted to do a testimonial with Lennox, the manager of the farm down here. And we bought the industry spotlights on Bushel Plus. We bought one in March of this year, and I forget the price, but it's in that $2,000 to $3,000 range. And we got a chance to use it firsthand on our wheat harvest, and I wanted JR to explain how the system worked, and we saved some money, and we're looking forward to using it in both our corn and soybean harvest. So JR, yeah, explain the system a little bit here.
All right, it starts out with this magnetic piece. It's got 2 magnets that we put under the axle, and as you're driving, you push a key fob and this bottom pan falls out. And as you're driving over, all your material coming out the back will fall into this pan.
Right.
Once you pick up the pan, you dump the pan into the separator, and it blows all the chaff and mixture out. And then what you're left with is just a grain sample, which you can put into the app and calculate how much you're losing from the back of your combine.
So, JR, do you have to do this once, twice to calibrate the combine properly?
You can do it as many times as you want until you're happy with your sample.
Okay, so we got ours. So JR thinks we were losing about 1 bushel per acre on the wheat. We got it down to about 0.61. It's a savings of about 1,300. We're just losing less. It's savings of about $1,350. How did you do it the old way without this?
You go out with a hoop or a box.
Right.
I would go out, put my feet together, and you try and count kernels
right.
within that square foot.
Okay.
And what I found was that was not as accurate
Sure.
as we would have liked, because
Right.
what I found was this year especially, we had tough straw, so I would find 2 kernels in a head. So I was wondering why the heads weren't blowing out.
Right.
It's because there were kernels in that head, which you would normally count as
Sure.
properly threshed. So it wasn't. We make an adjustment on the combine. Now we know, and it helps out. Every
Right.
kernel helps.
So obviously it's a lot more efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Putting a number to something is a lot easier than guessing what you're at. And even a half kernel. So if you have a cracked kernel, maybe you don't see it, or it falls between a crack.
Right.
So you're not counting what's actually there, but now you know what's actually there.
Yeah, I think this thing's going to pay handsomely in the first year since our purchase, and we highly recommend it for everybody to consider purchasing one of these. Bushel Plus, I want to thank them for their platinum sponsorship this year, and this is an industry spotlight on Bushel Plus. JR, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.